Why do more and more mobile CMOS image sensors support on-chip HDRI features?
Mainly, as I mentioned before, there is a constant push towards making the pixel size smaller for the smartphone, mobile phone market, because there is just no other way of increasing image sensor resolution while also making your image sensor smaller. So you have to physically fit all of those pixels in the same amount of, even smaller amount of physical area, while also allowing high resolution. So these are conflicting requirements, and it's physically impossible to do it any other way. You have to make the pixels smaller. So you could take an example. Let's say you have some still camera or like a video camera, right? There, the size of the image sensor is not as big a constraint. So you can have an image sensor which is maybe like 2 centimeters by 1 centimeter. You've got a large enough area, hundreds of square millimeter, where you can collect enough light even with a megapixel sensor. But compare that with the size of the sensor that you have to put on your smartphone. It's got maybe 10 square millimeter of area, which is small fraction of how much area you have on video camera or a still camera. So then you pay the penalty of collecting less light, and so you have to deal with that one way or another. One big challenge with these small pixels is that because the pixels are getting so much smaller, the amount of charge that they can collect is also much smaller, right? So the well capacity of these pixels is also much smaller. That limits the native dynamic range that you can get from these small pixels. But there's really no other way. I mean, if you want to maintain that high resolution in the small amount of area, those are some of the challenges that we'll have to deal with computationally in post-processing or playing some other tricks in hardware. For example, the binning idea that we just talked about. So, well, my expertise is not too much on the low-level hardware details, so I can't really go into too much detail on that. But I can certainly see that if your pixels are just so small, then it will be a challenge to fit, the other processing circuitry that needs to go within each pixel. Although I feel like with some of the recent advances in 3D stacking, that could help alleviate some of those problems, where you could fit that circuitry in a second layer or maybe even a third layer. But yeah, you're right. So it limits how much you can do inside each pixel if the pixel itself is so small. That's also not easy to do, because if what I have read is some of the companies have some really special expertise in terms of aligning these different wafers together down to like micron level precision, which is really important if your pixel sizes are so small. And so, yeah, it's certainly true that that type of technology has also benefited pixels that are slightly larger.